接下来就是我们的综合论坛时间，那会由经济部推动绿色贸易专案办公室副执行长担任这个论坛的主持人，那就让我们欢迎执行长以及2位讲者，谢谢。
好，其实我也很想讲中文哈，因为我的中文也比英文好。OK， 不过中国人因为最好客嘛，哈，总是希望来者是客，所以可以来这儿呢，减少一点文化冲击哈。所以我们说一点英文啊，如果英文说的不好，就请大家见谅啊。好。Okay, so we have 2 guest speakers here, and this morning we have heard the program that in the market from demand side and the supply side. And we realize that green procurement and demonstration of a green technology are equally important in the market. Okay. However, in order for the green market to perform well, we really need some driving force, not only from the government sector, but also from the private sector. So when Professor Ghosh said green products might be manufactured in a more energy conservative way, contains more recycled components or less packaging. And usually, we think that the most difficult challenge is that if you produce them in such ways, then the cost would be much higher and compared to the general traditional products. So most of the company, most of the business, they will not do it until the government regulate, etc. But however, Professor Ghosh also said that the more we wait, the less competitiveness we will face in the market. So we got to do something. And fortunately, Mr. Mu in this morning showed us some of the positive fact, like the average price of the green products are already, some of them are already lower than the non-green products in Korea's market, which is really the key, I think, to the green economy. Because I'm always waiting for green products to be produced in such a way, maybe mass scale, and then the price will become cheaper, and then our life will become better because the more green consumption. So without this kind of awareness and actions, it's really difficult to reach our destiny, green economy. So the first thing I would like to ask from my own to both speakers here that because we are talking about the green market and green consumption. So the first question I would like to ask is that what should we do in order to drive the market demand bigger and the price of green products lower? So maybe government should do something, maybe the private sector should do something, but what are the major factors or major actions we should do? And then the second question is that in Taiwan, in order to promote the green market, we do have many business, but our business are small and medium size. So what will you suggest then to enter into global market, especially what should they prepare in order to enter the global green market? Yeah, that will be the question before I have the question list from the audience on the floor. So Professor Ghosh, would you? First question, okay. Because I think the key to green economy is that if we have the average price of green products, which is lower than the original or the traditional products, then we will have more consumers to buy green products, right? Then we will have a more green consumption and green economy. So I would like to ask, is that what kind of program or what kind of action that we should do in order to drive the market demand bigger and to have the lower price of them than later? Yeah.
Thank you very much for the question. And the first thing which we should keep in mind that the product price, any product, X product, the price depends on many factors. Like first is the price which dictates is the quality of a product. You know that if the quality of the product is enhanced, in long run, the price will reduce. Why long run? Because for imbibing a better quality of the product, you have to enhance the facility, you have to enhance the instrumentation, the machine quality. In all this, you have to invest. So for that investment, you need a time for return on investment. So in that way, if you try to enhance the quality of the product just tomorrow, you cannot expect that your price will come down and it will be effective. So in that way, there must be always a time period. Similarly, for the environmental product or the green product, today the product which you are producing, you might have number of areas where you are not recycling the product. Like I was referring to reverse logistics. Reverse logistics and green supply chain management, these two are the primary requirement of manufacturing a green product. When you align your suppliers, you align your recycling process, so automatically the materials which were wasted, those are accounted for in the process itself. So those had value previously. Now you are considering this value and adding those adding those value to your profitability. So in that way, the product cost in long run will reduce for green product. But I am not sure that it is always true. It is still under experimentation. But thing is that in general, the price of green product may reduce by incorporating all these processes. But still, I am telling that this is under experimentation because we didn't have the experience of having green product for a long time. This is the first question. And the second question, is it the first question? Huh? And
Okay. The second question is that
yeah,
most of the
I can
Taiwanese
remember the
companies
second
are
question.
small,
Second
medium
question
size.
is most of the Taiwanese organization are SMEs. You know, today, how many big industries are there in the world? Very few. Because you know that all the big industries are now converting their processes into supply chain. So as a matter of fact, big industry means big investment. Big investment means your product cost is more. So in that way, most of the big industries are now breaking their processes into different supply chain. And those supply chains, there are all small units. I mean, your product, maybe in the name of Taiwan, manufactured in Taiwan, which is supplied to India, Calcutta, you have a supply chain in Calcutta itself or nearby, and that's a small unit. But how the quality is enhanced? The quality, the material quality, the process quality, everything is controlled by your own system, which is imbibed in that particular small unit. So in that way, most of the units today throughout the world are SMEs, and incorporating the processes in SMEs will be the reflection of the processes which are adopted in big industries. Only those processes which are not possible in small scale, those are only imbibed in the large industry or large unit. But otherwise, all the processes in small unit, you have to have the green process in that particular small unit. How it can be benefited? Like simply, if you go to SMEs, most of the SMEs by culture, they don't have the system at all. If you ask them what is the material you have in your inventory, they may not give you the exact picture. So as a matter of fact, whenever a new order comes, they go for purchase of the material without looking into the inventory of the material itself. So these are some of the areas where if you really look into it, you will see that there can be a big cut in the cost itself, which adds value to the profitability of a small unit. There is no theory, but only that during the implementation, you have to look into which area is weaker, which area is stronger. So as a matter of fact, in that way, the SMEs will imbibe all the environmental processes, environmental friendly processes in any of the countries. It is not specific to Taiwan. It's specific to India or any country. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So it's not a matter of cost. It's a matter of adding the value to the profitability. Great. Okay, Dr. Wu.
这样子好像不说英文不行的样子。那好，那就显得比较 friendly， 那就麻烦一下口译老师了。Okay, I will respond to the question from a different perspective on what the action we shall carry out to lower the price of the green products. So I think my understanding would be as following. This not, I mean, I'm not looking at the mid or long term. First of all, the procurement, which has been already showcased in the morning sessions, like in South Korea, that is a huge success from my understanding. First of all, the green products its coverage shall be carefully selected as to encourage to increase the numbers of the actors and producers in the market. So secondly, the demand of the green products will be increased in the market. And so as the extent of the competition in the market will be also increased. So last, now as the supply of the green products in the market are numbered, and some of them are even larger in terms of the economy scale, and so we can expect that the market mechanism will adjust, I mean automatically. So we can expect the to lower the price of the green products. So in terms of the green procurement, that's my understanding. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Green procurement. Okay, I have the question list here. One question is to Professor Ghosh, and I'd like to ask, is there any government regulation on the green procurement right now in India? Or is there any green standard or certificate, green labels that our companies have to apply for it in order to sell their products in India?
Yeah. In India, as of today, there is no legislation on green product, but it has started in big multinationals and also government. Like how it started. You know, ISO 14000 standard, like say railway, Indian Railway. If you are to supply any product, then you need to have a specific product, not all products. You need to have a ISO 14000 certification for your process and management system. Similarly, for corporate organizations, they go beyond that. They don't have much faith on ISO 14000 certificate. So what they do is they have their own environment audit system. So during the process of supplier selection, they go for the environment audit and then they select the suppliers. So as a matter of fact, for government, there is only environmental audit. So whenever you go for a bigger order for the government, they will go for asking you, where is your environmental audit report? But as such, for a specific green product, as on today, there is no legislation in India.
Okay, thank you. And questions to Dr. Wu? That you can answer in Chinese.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay. When we talk about the definition of environmental goods or green products, do we necessarily need to have eco label? So how should we look at the eco label? Because in Korea, I know the green products are defined in eco labeled products or the recycled product. But how about in Taiwan? Okay, it's like the question to me, not to you. So. But you want to answer first.
Could you please answer that question?
Okay, and then the second question to you is that you show a slide and you say that Taiwan's export is about the green product export is about 13% of the total trade. Okay, so we would like to know in there how many company or how many green products have eco label. Another question. Okay.
Unfortunately, I can only barely answer to the first question. Yes, I think as the question goes, I mean, eco label is understood. I mean, by it can be either voluntary or it can be compulsory. So I think in South Korea, maybe Mr. Moon can correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, in the case that we understand the green products, I mean, in a saying that we are referring to that products with the eco label, but in Taiwan, I don't think that's the case, isn't it?
Right.
So the floor is yours.
Okay. You finished? Okay. I think in Taiwan, the green products and the services that we promote are more general, because we think in order to reach green economy or to reach the low carbon society, we need to have more variety. So all kinds of the green labels that as long as it's energy saving, it's water saving, it's our energy like an environmental label or green building material or green building certificate. All sorts of green labels and certificates, we all promote them in our society, and which is quite different from Korea's approach, because Korea's approach is more focused on eco-labeled products only. So, okay.
I like to add here one thing. In India, as a whole, there is no legislation, but like say air conditioner, we have a rating system: 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, and you know this star means more star means this is more energy saver. So in that way, this is now in the market, and anybody who is going to purchase AC is knowing fully well that whether he will go for 5-star, 4-star, or 3-star, and it has a price difference also. The 5-star is the highest, but people are going for 5-star and 4-star. So this rating system is developed and implemented by the government. We have a Bureau of Energy Efficiency. So in that way, they have some of the legislation which are now in implementation for the product, I mean energy saving and environmental saving, but not as a whole the enactment. That's there.
Yep. So in international, the global market, we really have many kinds of green labels, more than thousands, I think. So it really depends on which market you want to enter, and then you need to have the green label or green certificate in that market. Okay. And another question to Dr. Wu. You mentioned about disputes in WTO region, and which is really interesting. But however, recent development shows that RTA is also the region to talk about this trade or environmental goods. So can you talk about more in RTA green products development?
I would try my best. As already exemplified in my presentation, that APEC, in a general sense, can be understood as a regional trade agreement in a quite loose way. However, FTA or RTA signed by two economies or amongst multiple economies, they are free to reduce the tariff lines at whatever they want. So if they want to cover, for instance, chapters in the FTA concerning the environment, or to promote the environment protections in the text of the FTA, RTA, I think they are free to do so.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I don't have any question list. So is there any question from the floor? You are very welcome. Okay.
Okay, I have a question for Professor Ghosh. You mentioned that in India there's no formal regulation on green products or government certification system yet. Well, basically it's very common. We have many Southeast Asian countries that are basically in the same situation. But usually, I know at least in Vietnam, in Malaysia, in Indonesia, they are talking about maybe they can adopt foreign eco labels. So, because you mentioned that in India maybe some big individual companies have their own standard or whatever, but as a Taiwanese manufacturer, it's very difficult to meet those requirements one by one. So if I get my product certified by some international green label system like Energy Star or EU Flower or Ranger, would it be helpful for me to enter the Indo green market?
As of today, you know that there are some international standard. One, I told you that ISO 14000. The second one, there is a standard on carbon footprints. Carbon footprint standard ISO 14067 is a voluntary standard as of today. People are trying, some countries trying to get it as a mandatory standard, certification standard, but as of it is not. So in that way, if voluntarily you can adopt these two standards, then of course you will have a added advantage, competitive edge in business. But there is no, I mean, like say eco leveling, you can go for eco leveling. Like 14,000, you can go for mostly for any business throughout the world, you can adopt some of the ISO standard apart from 14,000. ISO 14,000, many organization has it. So in that way, that is not an excellent today. Apart from that, if you go for any other international standard and you self can adopt it, then of course this will have a customerage throughout the world, not only in India.
Okay, the more green labels, the better. So ISO 14000 carbon footprint are more welcome in India. Okay. Yeah, please.
Thank you for sharing. I would like to have two questions regarding about what your presentation. The first one in India, okay? In fact, how you convince, especially either you are a government side or you are professor side, gentleman side, how you convince the people, especially there's a big gap regarding about between rich guy and poor guy in India. How you deal with people, say we need a green global. Because I was poor, I never enjoyed electricity, I never done that. How you consider? I don't have enough money or resources to enjoy such kind of, might be a little bit better life. I don't know how you can do this, or just about propaganda. Okay, this is the first question. The second question regarding about, I'm interested in what you are saying is you want to reserve so-called shower, or you say storm rain, or in Asia Pacific we call it a monsoon. Okay, so can you share more regarding about this kind of technology or knowledge or practice, either in your country or other global side, regarding about this? Because in Taiwan, in fact, we are encountering, even we might be suffer this kind of a challenge in the near future. Okay, thank you.
The first thing, India has 11 billion people, and we have unity in diversity, and parallelly, poorest of the poor to the richest. And of course, at the initial stage, at this arena of international scenario, you cannot go for the same level for all these 11 billion people at a time. But parallelly, you have to survive in international scenario. So in that way, have a better beginning with all these which are at par with international requirement. Like if you are not in WTO, you cannot do your business. If you are not a signatory to all the treaties, your survival will be at a loss. So in that way, imbibe those at the initial stage and make people aware, give more space to the poorest of the poor, and then you take a time of 15 years or even 20 years, then you can reach to a certain level. You cannot start with all 11 billion people for doing everything right. It is not possible, it is not practical. So in that way, India is also going in the same way. Of course, we feel, and India government as well as Indian are feeling for the poorest of the poor. But you know that some of the system you have to adapt at the initial stage, where you have to take only X percentage of people to go around. Similarly, for the SMEs, my friend also told that SMEs, it is not possible for all the SMEs to adapt everything. That's why the corporate people are first taking that. Supplier of the corporate, they are taking that. In the third stage, supplier of the suppliers of the corporate, and in cascaded way this will happen, and this will happen in all the countries, even in Taiwan, though it is a very small country. You cannot take a system for all the person at a time, for all the SMEs at a time. You have to have a cascaded plan. This is number one. And number two, I forgot the question.
Can you repeat?
No, I'm interested. Your answer cannot satisfy what I'm thinking. Okay, the country, like if I were part of the poor people in India, okay, maybe I'm also project 2020 or 2050. My family will become a middle-level rich guy. Okay, then I gotta spend more appliance and so in my house, of course, which will generating a lot of GHS, okay? Greenhouse emission. So what should I do? In fact, the total amount, in reality, in your country will be increased dramatically. Not like our people sit in the nice room and comfortable to say something. In reality, how you convince? You didn't tell to me. For you, very easy to say, oh, this is very important. How you really convince? If you are a government officer, how to convince? Deal with the people. I'm really poor. The monthly income of $100 for my family. What should I do?
You are quite correct. Because it's very tough to convince all the people, because what you are telling, that the group, the poor people, whose monthly income is not enough to take care of the family itself, and they cannot think of the CHG emission or environmental protection and other things. And only because of that, in country like India, we are taking long time to implement any of the legislation. It's not only environmental legislation, but even the social legislation. Any legislation, you go to the metro cities, it's quite good, people are abiding by. But whenever you are going to the rural area, where more number of people are there, it's a problem. And it's a problem for the government. We cannot do away with. We have to take people together. So in that way, if the legislation have to be relaxed in some of the areas, it is being relaxed. Like, I'll give an example. Like say plastic rule we have in India, and that is one of the environmental legislation. In that big mall and the marketplace, it is implemented. But whenever you are going to the poor fellow who is selling flour, she is using plastic carry bag which is having 5 micron, 10 micron thickness. And the municipal guys are going there to the lady and asking, why you are using? Her simple reaction is, how would I manage? And they keep shut. They don't have any answer. So you have rightly hit the right point, that how you are convincing. It's really very tough situation. It's not possible even in very small time. And environment, I believe that environmental protection has a direct relation with the poverty line. If the poverty line is very low, then environmental protection will definitely have an effect of it. And I fully agree with you that it's very tough to convince the people who are at the poverty. And you have to go away with this. You have to just take the people together. Your environmental legislation is aside. First, your people in the country. So in that way, India is also going away.
Okay, this conversation reminds me another day I was reading the article about this green product. Actually, green product is not just for rich people. And if we look at the population structure, 400 million people live under poverty line. And this is the fact. So if we really want to make a green product, so please invent more green products on necessary goods for living. Because we allow their participation, we allow poor people's participation. We cannot have the environmental outcome that we want either, right? Okay.
温老师，如果别人没有问题，我要请教吴博士哦。
Okay. Yeah. Is there any question? Yeah, please.
Thank you, Madam Wen. Can I ask a professor from India? In my poor understandings, you talk about the reverse logistics. Actually, there could be a reverse transportation, something like that. If we can solve recycling. In the past, in my experiences, there is a way of doing business. IMA. I mean, the goods or the spare parts need to be shipped back to repair or anything. So do you think that concern the question, I mean, next, Do you think the aftermarket or reverse aftermarket should be or could be done locally or be properly? I mean, this could be my my opinion. Inland consumption, could be the last mile, but inland production should be the last mileage. This is my first query. Thank you.
Really? Can you repeat
Oh,
one more?
I make it fast. I mean, in
Yeah.
your slides, that is reverse logistics. If you just put away the recycling, I mean, this kind of system for manufacturing IMA, the parts or the goods whatsoever should be returned back to be repaired. I mean, okay.
I got your point. Your point.
And because that is a take question. I mean, together, inland consumption is the last mile, but for the third world, inland production is the last mileage. We need to stand up. Do you agree or no? Thank you.
The first thing, that reverse logistics, it's not only recycling, but the problem is from source to disposal of the product. We don't want to lose any resource. So in that way, if recycling is one of the way, we can adopt it. If treatment of the process, like say the simple municipal waste, we go for recycling. And in Taiwan or in many countries, it is incinerated. But after incineration, what we get? We get a power, electricity. In some cases, it's not in Taiwan, but in other country, they are getting heat for heating water or heating room. So in that way, reverse logistics is a process by which we can reduce, or rather we can enhance the resource utilization. One example I'll give in addition. In India, previously we didn't have battery. Now it is in place. What does it say? If you sell battery for a particular size, not all, the pencil battery or another, no. It is your responsibility to take it back. So in that way, Exide Industries Limited, it has around 80% of the market share in India. All their batteries, they have made the system in the country in such a way that any battery which is sold, it will come back after its life to their process, and then they do away with the process. Similarly, we are trying that Godrej company, or rather not Godrej but any other company, that the refrigerator, it's not by rule, but refrigerator, whenever it is sold, then if you are discarding it and if you are interested to purchase a second one, then always if you give the old one, I mean the replacement, then they will give an incentive of some amount. It is 500 Indian rupee or 1000 Indian rupee, and they deduct the price and then give the new one. So these are some of the ways by which the reverse logistics is being implementation in India by organization, by rule, and also not by rule. Thank you.
Okay. Is there other questions from the floor? Of this gentleman?
对不起，我想请教，就是用中文那个台湾的那个 speaker 哈。那我想请教一下，因为像韩国也好，他们都有一个类似这样的一个环保消费的一个卡，那印度也有在推这个方面。那其实是他们都有一个很清楚的一个，不管是由上而下，由下而上，他们都有一个 整个方向政策在乱。那因为我还没有看到台湾在这一方面有一个很明确的一个方向。其实台湾有很多的一个太阳能也好，或者是说一些能量都在这边，其实我们都有可能可以做的跟他们一样好。那依照您的了解，您有没有什么样的一个想法跟建议，可以就是说很好的整合，由政府也好或民间之间有一个更好的一个整合起来，那也可以跟得上这一种绿色消费或是绿色贸易的市场里面，在台湾有占了一个很重要的一个一席之地。谢谢。
谢谢这位先进的那个的建议。那因为就是说今天这个报告，我们虽然没有就是说涵盖到这一个，但是我们也的确看到就是说韩国像他们在做绿色消费、绿色信用卡，的确是有蛮大的一个企图心。那基本上他们也是有透过一个跨部会整合然后还有一个政策蓝图。那我想现在也许我们还没有看到，也许我们起步稍晚一点，但是我想也许在未来有机会的时候，我们应该也会有像这样子的一个比较具有这个策略性的这一个政策蓝图的这个出现。那基本上像这个绿色办公室，也就是一个比较一个尝试性，那就是希望就是说透过绿色贸易推动方案，然后来做一些努力。我想这些都是一些好的开始。那另外想请温博士稍微补充一下。
我想我跟这位先进有同感哈，就是说看到韩国他们这么积极的做这些绿色市场的一些做法哈，那我们也认为说其实台湾也可以做得更好哈。那但是呢，我们欠缺一个系统哈，也就是所谓的这个不管是从政府啦，或者是民间单位呢，整个一个市场运作的一个系统啊。那所以我们开这么多的研讨会呢，那我们的目的当然是希望去了解最成功的一些市场运作的一个系统一些经验、一些案例，然后呢，我们未来呢能够逐渐的建议让我们的政策的一个 level， 让我们能够呢有更好的一个系统在未来呈现所以要大家一起努力那我呢也谢谢大家呢这么踊跃来参与绿色贸易办公室的一些相关的一个活动，这样。OK， 后面还有2位先生有想要跟大家分享，不过因为时间已经到了所以因为我们时间已经到了，然后我们呢先在这边 close。如果说2位先生还有问题想要请教我们的这个speaker 的，我们可以到前面来请教
我要让他分享给大家，不要只有对我说。我的问题是对大家，不是对。
你的问题是对大家？
对。
好，您可以简单的
OK， 其实我刚刚回答，其实我是觉得绿色贸易可以结合把悠游卡怎么去结合跟绿色商品。
是。
以后 parking 用悠游卡应该 double 或 triple， 自己开车人应该付比较多，那才有绿色的味道。这是没有，这我是起头Since I believe my Mandarin is much better than English speaking, so I would like to use a Mandarin to ask Professor Wu。OK， 其实我讲 Mandarin 我们大家都讲中文。全世界没有人讲说 I speak Chinese， 我一直要强调是 I speak Mandarin 是满洲方言那个吴博士因为昨天我 miss 了你的问题，我没有问但是我今天是。
但我想您这个问题是。不
是，我是用了这个 green， 就是他是用 green 的这个 supply chain management
对。
那以台湾的立场。
因为我想很多人等着离开，那我们呢今天就到这里结束。那请您再跟 speaker 交换意见。I think we would like to close this section by now. So thank you for everybody's participation. If you have more you would like to learn, then you can come to our different section tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon. And thank you.
Thank you very much for